You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast. Joined this week, as I often am, by Giles Edwards,
Hello.
who has been under the weather.
Yeah, under the weather. I had a good week with some guests, and one of them brought a disease to share that let the memory linger on. But I'm on the upswing and getting back to reviewing stuff. So
All
here we
right. Well, I hope the disease was just like the flu or something, and
Oh yeah.
not something that would fit better on Pod 366 After Dark.
Oh no, nothing, nothing so clinical.
All right. Well, today we will reveal the Weirdcademy Award nominations for this year. And we're also going to go through the new releases this week, which aren't very much and aren't super significant and are all things we've known about before. And we're also going to just briefly talk about Sundance and what was there. This year we did not preview Sundance, which I think turned out it was just because it kind of ran out of time and I was overseas. And there's something off camera distracting Giles. Yeah, so I think it probably worked out better that we got to let everybody, who was actually there, review the films and decide which ones sounded weird before we unleashed our list of ones to look at. And so that's what we're going to start with. 5 movies from Sundance that we are going to cover if we get the chance. And they are of varying levels of interest too. But let's start out with the first one, which is called By Design. And the log line is very simple. The story is Juliette Lewis turns into a chair. And there's our still. It is from Amanda Kramer, who we have reviewed just about everything she's done. Giles reviewed Lady World, and then I reviewed Give Me Pity, and the one whose name I can't remember that I actually liked the most.
Is that the one with co-written by Noel something Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The leathery bikery musically thing, yeah.
Yes, it was a musical. Do you see do you still see the still, or do you see?
I do see it still. Yes, I see a.
Last time I accidentally switched focus when I switched windows, so I didn't want to do that. I want to get the name of this movie out because it was the one I liked the most, and it's killing me. I can't remember. Please, Baby, Please.
Mm-hmm.
Please, Baby, Please. With Andrea Riseborough giving a really wonderful, strange performance. And as you said, it was co-written by David Noel Taylor, who's the guy we should probably, Noel David Taylor, not
Noel David Taylor. Sorry, Noel. Yeah.
Who's somebody we should probably have back on again sometime. So I think that's a promising one in terms of weirdness. Reviews were not great, but I don't think Andrea Kramer's movies ever get good reviews. So that doesn't necessarily say much. I think the one reviewer says this is somebody's favorite movie, just not mine.
Yeah.
Like that. Any thoughts on that one before I move on, Giles?
No. Always still always pleased to see Juliette Lewis continuing work though, because she was very big during some of my formative years with Natural Born Killers and Way of the Gun. So always happy to.
There's another relatively big name older actress in it. Who was it? Sorry for the slow delivery here because I'm looking something up. Was it Melanie Griffith? Am I wrong? I'm wrong. No, that's a different movie.
Let's
That's a different.
see. There's Robin Tunney, Samantha
Yeah,
Mathis, Elisa Torres.
Sophie Van Hasselberg is in it from Give Me Pity. But yes, no, that's another movie with Meg Griffin in it. So
Uh,
let me move on to the next one, if I may. All right. This one is called, well, actually, Giles, you want to describe briefly what the still looks like? We didn't do that.
Sure, sure. We got a somewhat gothic or expressionist set that you can just barely make out in the background with bold intersecting lines and colored paint, so very, very reminiscent of a stained glass kind of thing. And that is merely the backdrop to, this is a female-looking individual with it might be this person might be trying to do a very strange approximation of what it guesses a smile might be. But she's got some white hair, a bit tousled. Can see sort of straps over the shoulders, which suggest maybe overalls or something over a coarse white shirt. And yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint the expression on this individual. I guess it's worth also mentioning it's a very, very pale. Rictus is a word that comes to mind for the look I'm seeing here.
Okay, and this is called, do you know what it's called?
Given it's called Dead Lover.
Yes. And it's a synopsis basically is a gravedigger, female gravedigger, and reanimates her dream man. And it's described as a sort of campy and sort of wild and gonzo horror, sort of a irreverent, I guess, horror comedy maybe, spin on Frankenstein with some cult movie potential.
Yeah, the review from the Tellerico at RogerEbert.com was broadly enthusiastic about it. Indicated that it didn't quite work for him, but could see it. What did work was much appreciated in terms of energy and creativity. So about as good a review you can get without being without actually going outright recommending it.
Okay. I'll point out that's from Grace Glowicki, who is an actress that we saw in Strawberry Mansion. She's also directed some of her own work. I think this is her biggest project to date. Since she was in Strawberry Mansion, that kind of leads into the next movie that we're going to be watching for. And you want to describe this still, Giles?
Sure, we've got a nice classic like horror movie small chapel set here. That soft whitewashed stone look, got various little candelabras scattered around corners, rows of pews. This is a dead center shot, so we see it, the wings and all everything, and barely discernible in the middle of the image. Looks like a kind of standardly dressed guy, but of course we'd be able to see him better if he weren't so thoroughly obscured by this big shadow of a horned creature with arms extended and fingers flared out that dominates a sort of center T shape of this movie still, which is in black and white, by the way.
Yes, and it is called.
Oh, I bet. Is this OBEX, I'm guessing?
It's OBEX. OBEX is a movie about a man, a nerdy man, I guess. It's set in like an alternate 1987, it sounds like. And man travels into a video game to save his dog, who has been abducted by a character in the video game. And the reason I mentioned Strawberry Mansion, which co-starred Grace Glowicki, the director and lead actress of the last movie, is because this one is directed by Albert Burney, the co-director of Strawberry Mansion, which shows you how kind of small the indie film world is.
Yeah, and also the
Partially,
director of Silvio,
yeah, the director of Silvio.
and written by the one of the people from Love and Work.
It is written by Pete O's from Love and Work, and there's also another name in there
Oh
that's
yeah,
in the
the
same.
second billing guy, Frank Mosley.
Frank Mosley. So we have had we didn't have Bernie, Albert Bernie on Pod 366, but I interviewed him right before we started Pod 366, and that is on YouTube. And then Pete O's and Frank Mosley we interviewed. So it's a small world. All those people working together. It's got really good weird movie credentials, I think.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
if you watch the YouTube promo for it, Sundance promo, which I will embed, it's very weird and whimsical as well. So that's one I'm particularly very hopeful for. Those
Yeah.
first three I'm all pretty happy about and hopeful for. The last two are more weird slash horror
Oh yeah. Yeah.
leaning ones, which sometimes are frequently lean more towards the horror end than the weird end for my
Yeah.
tastes. But Giles described this next still.
All right, this is a fellow, I'm gonna guess in his early 30s. Glorious mustache and little goatee thing. Actually, looks like a beard into a mustache. So, bearded fella with a full head of black hair, all tousled, which is just as well because he's looking rather distressed by whatever he's gazing at. That's just sort of off to our right as we observe this still, and it's he's holding over his head, or just putting on, or just about to take off a bulky set of headphones. And judging from the backdrop, I'm guessing he's outside because you can't really quite make it quite clear just what's going on, but that makes me think it's a whole bunch of leaves that are out of focus from a nearby tree woodland area. So, yes, hints of sound and shock
Yeah, and
emanate from this image.
that person is Dev Patel, the actor
Hmm.
Dev Patel, and the movie is
Rabbit Trap.
it is Rabbit Trap. And Rabbit Trap is a horror movie described as something about two musicians recording woodland sounds, and they get encounter a mystical sound which drives them mad. And it's a Welsh folk horror. And so it sounds a lot like the plot of a movie we saw just recently within the last couple years called Men,
Oh,
only
yes.
with a two people instead of one. Um, and that's about all I have to say about it. Do you have any comments on Rabbit Trap, Giles?
Nothing illuminating beyond snippets from the Sundance review I read from the envoy from RogerEbert.com, who said, "Oh, this wasn't that great."
No, it didn't get. None of these really got super good reviews. Although I think people tended to like Dead Lovers and OBEX the most out of
Yeah.
these five. There is one more, and this still I don't think really illustrates the key idea in this movie, but we're gonna.
Oh, no, I got the
This is what we got.
cloth thing going on there. Well, we got a middle-aged famous. Well, we don't know his face. We got a middle-aged illustrator in a ribbed knit sweater thing over working on a one of those easel boards that is around a 45-degree angle, and looks really, really into what he's up to with the tiny little pencil or paintbrush thing in his right hand. But his left hand is probably the most interesting thing going on here. We see a wedding ring, and we see the elbow is angled up, and the forearm extended down, and the hand all done up wacky, very claw-like. Um, and it just about obscures the face, but not quite, of a very, very famous British actor who plays this ostensibly troubled looking, well, certainly troubled looking, ostensibly troubled artist of some sort.
Okay, and it is the actor is Benedict Cumberbatch. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is Benedict Cumberbatch, and the title of the movie is
The Thing with Feathers.
Thing with Feathers. And this is simply, rather simply described as a grieving father is haunted by some sort of metaphor for his grief, which is a giant talking crow.
Voiced by David Thewlis, for those who are fans of that interesting fellow.
Voiced by David Thewlis, who does some very good voiceover work in general. Sort of the description of this reminds me of a overly serious and somber version of a movie that came out last year called Tuesday, which had a giant talking parrot
Oh yes.
representing death, and was rather more ultimately lighthearted than this one sounds like. Um, so didn't get great reviews. It's based on a novel. Does sound like it might be a little weird. Giles, any final thoughts on that? Or
Um, no, no.
okay, so that wraps up the five movies from Sundance that we will be looking for. Just in final, any of these stand out to you as the ones you're most interested in?
Oh, certainly OBEX because the people behind that, I really enjoyed the mentality in Love and Work and the actor Nick guy. Oops, I apologize. Anyway,
Frank
the
Wells.
cast looks fun, and yeah, black and white is something I like to see people play around with. So that's probably my what I'm most interested in. Although
Yeah,
Julia Lewis as a chair is probably going to be neat.
yeah, I think it's by design, OBEX, and I think that Dead Lover sounds like a blast from the recommendations or the reviews I read. Don't know if it's going to have quite the weird credentials of the other two, but that one I'm also sort of looking forward to. I think those might be ones that end up showing up at Fantasia for you, Giles.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because I don't think that any of them are likely to get distribution before then, so they might still be playing the circuit. Um, but let's move on to our next one. You can describe, now we're into actual physical media releases, Giles. You can describe this box. It's very simple. It's mostly text, but
It is mostly text describing the many things within this box. It is a rather thick Blu-ray container with the title of the subject matter in red letters with a haze over them, and that is superimposed over a bunch of conifer trees with a haze over them. Um, and it's described as the most groundbreaking TV series ever, which is an exaggeration, but less of one than other TV shows I can think of.
so this is, of course, a box set for Friends, and no, I
Friends from Z to A, exactly. All the little pieces, all the mystery bits of Friends, the clues about the couch, it's all there.
it is, of course, Twin Peaks from Z to A. And I will start out by saying that there's nothing in this release that is actually new except for one little thing, which is first off, what it covers everything. Twin
Mm,
Peaks. It covers all three seasons of Twin Peaks in their entirety, plus the movie Fire Walk with Me, plus all the deleted scenes from Fire Walk with Me that have been released before in different editions, plus 20 plus hours of bonus material, which is all stuff that has been released before and has been collected together before. The one thing that's different about this one is that there is, I think it's like a 20 disc set, and there's one disc that is a 4K UHD disc, and it
mm,
has does not have everything on it. There's only two items on the 4K UHD disc, which are the original pilot for Twin Peaks and the Gotta Light episode 8 from Twin Peaks The Return, which of course is the one that got everybody talking. And I think it works as a standalone surrealist short film at
mm.
about an hour. If you haven't even seen the rest of the series, I think it works alone. Definitely worth seeing. Um, but that's it. As I say, all this stuff was available before on a Blu-ray set called something like Twin Peaks: The Complete Series or The Mystery Completed or something. I don't remember exactly. But if you do have that set, this is going to just really be a very expensive duplicate to get one 4K UHD disc. If you don't have any Twin Peaks, well, this is everything you'll ever need.
Hmm.
So that's that. Any thoughts, Giles?
Pretty excited for it. I'm always a fan of very comprehensive
Huh.
releases of things. Looking at Amazon right now, there's the non-committal price of Blu-ray from $359, but it says currently unavailable to me, so I don't know if this isn't quite out yet or if it's gone already.
It's probably sold out originally. It is out already.
Okay.
I'm almost certain everybody has been reporting on it. It could be just an Amazon problem, could be temporarily sold out. Not sure what that is, but check around for it, or wait for the price to come down a little bit.
Okay, you can find it on eBay for 140 bucks plus shipping.
Ooh, wow, that's a lot cheaper. That makes me wonder.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to know. Okay. Well, anyway, and yeah, because it varies 140 to 200 to 350. So I don't know.
All right, let's move on to another re-release that we've discussed before and we've been waiting for to come out on this particular format. Giles, you want to describe the image?
No, I will, but for the record, I have not been waiting for this to come out in this format. This image, all right, we have a very bright but overcast day, weather-wise in the sky, and on the ground we have a lot of mud and puddly mud, and kind of in the middle there's a group of people dressed drably, looking in front of them at well, there's a sort of twofold image. On the right-hand side of their field of vision, we see a bit of greenery, some trees that seem to be defiantly living despite the murkiness of the surroundings. And on the left-hand side, we see a flaming house that is burnt almost to the framework, a flaming tree that was next to the house, and of course, parked in front of this idyllic little establishment is a flaming car.
Okay. And it is,
Andrei Tarkovsky's The Sacrifice.
yes, Sacrifice being Andrei Tarkovsky's final film made while he was dying of cancer. It's a typically austere and challenging spiritual tale of a man who wishes to sacrifice himself to save his family from a possibly imaginary apocalypse. It does feature Sven Nykvist doing the cinematography, who was Bergman's cinematographer, so it was a good opportunity for Tarkovsky once he got to the West to team up with that guy, since his and Bergman's work is often lumped together and it's very similar despite them having very different philosophical outlooks on life. So this had already been released on Blu-ray. This is just the 4K UHD version of the Blu-ray that came out probably within the last year.
Mm.
So for Tarkovsky fans who have UHD players, that's who it's for, and don't have it already or want to upgrade. One last Blu-ray, not Blu-ray, but physical media to discuss. Giles, the cover.
The cover, youngish fellow, I'm going to say early mid 30s, close cropped hair, kind of, I don't know, generic looking, and he's being embraced from the back by a woman in a striking magenta to cadmium sweater thing, and her face is somewhat obscured by shadow. Looks like she's a blonde, and from the expression on her face, she seems deeply concerned, but a little impatient in regards potentially to this individual that she is embracing presently.
Okay, and it is the gentleman is Adam Sandler, and the woman grasping him from behind is Emily Watson, and the movie is
Punch Drunk Love.
directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, which I haven't seen, and I don't know how really weird it is. It was recommended by a reader, many, many years ago, one of our first reader recommendations, probably. And that is why we continue to track it across its various
Mhm.
Criterion uh, collection releases, including this, the final, until they come up with some kind of 8K player, the final release, the 4K UHD, as upgraded as it can possibly be for current technology.
Isn't there an 8K version of 2001: A Space Odyssey?
There probably is, but what can play it? Who can play it? Maybe they'll start, in a couple of years, upgrading everything to 8K versions so you can ditch your old 4K versions and buy
Yeah,
the.
that's right. Those crummy things where you can see the dots if your screen's any larger than your house.
Have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
I have not. The only let's see, Paul Thomas Anderson. I know I've seen Inherent Vice.
Uh-huh.
Um, was he behind Magnolia?
Yes.
Okay, so I saw that in theaters. I have not seen Punch Drunk Love. I think the first exposure I hope to get to Adam Sandler in a serious role is shoot, was it Rough Gems or something like that? Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
That looks not weird but very good.
No, it was. Uncut Gems is not weird, but very good. This is like one of the first. Sandler's done several movies that prove that he is a quote unquote serious actor. And to be fair, he always does well in them. I despise his comedies more than you can imagine, but he when it comes to serious roles, he has done a good job. And speaking of serious roles, which
Oh, yeah.
not really something we're speaking of, but
Serious awards though.
serious awards, we're going to announce the nominees for the Weirdcademy Awards and show you a sample ballot. These will be up on the site and available for voting on Sunday. And voting will continue until the day before the Academy Awards are announced, which are aired, which is Sunday, March 2nd. And we will announce our winners a few hours before they go on air so that you can skip their programming entirely. But we are going to let you decide who wins this year out of the ones that we, and mainly me, selected for you to choose.
That's right. You can only make a correct choice, dear voter.
That's true. All of them deserve to win. It's an honor just to be nominated. But, Giles, why don't you read off the official nominees for Weirdest Movie of 2024?
With pleasure. We start alphabetically, it appears. Abruptio, Puppet Thing. The Absence of Milk in the Mouths of the Lost. Very surreal thing. Dali, a 6-aid biopicish thing. Hundreds of Beavers, a Hundreds of Beavers thing. The Invisible Fight, a Kung Fu Eastern Orthodox thing. I Saw the TV Glow, a semi-supernatural meditation on loneliness kind of thing. Kinds of Kindness, a 3-part kind of thing. Megalopolis, a I had to sell my vineyard kind of thing. Rumors, a Guy Maddeny kind of thing, although less so than others. And The Substance, a Netflix kind of thing, which isn't to its discredit.
Okay, well, Substance isn't by Netflix, but
Oh, I thought.
it's
Well, I
on
thought it was
Tubi.
okay. It's not. It's on Netflix, so I
Is
presumed.
it on Netflix?
I thought so, but I could be mistaken.
I think you might be mistaken.
No, wouldn't be the first time.
It's from Mubi, and I don't know that they've licensed it to anybody else yet. They will probably after the Oscars are done. So,
Okay, yeah, definitely not a Netflix thing.
yeah, those are the, you might be confusing it with another movie, but those are our 10 nominees. Just a comment, they're different than our top 10 weird movies of the year, partly because our lowest 2 movies on the top 10 weird movies of the year tied, which gave us 11 movies. So I decided to eliminate both of them, particularly since they were both such low budget movies that almost no one had seen them. And we did include one low budget movie that no one has seen on here, The Absence of Milk in the Mouths of the Lost. And if you get the chance to see that, you definitely should. But I replaced them with two better known movies in The Invisible Fight and Rumors that more people will have actually.
Yeah, there are ways to see all of these. So
Yeah. All of them, the hardest one to see is Absence of Milk in the Mouths of the Lost. All the rest of them should be relatively easy to find and rent, if you haven't already seen them. And my guess is this race is going to come down to a race between Hundreds of Beavers and The Substance, with
Yep.
I saw the TV Globe probably coming in a significant third. That's who knows. Readers and voters can surprise me, but that's what I would guess would happen. Giles, any thoughts about this slate of movies?
Yeah, I think the likely top two are the Hundreds of Substance. Although I think that perhaps running up might be Megalopolis because that was seen by a lot of our people kinds of people.
Yeah, Megalopolis could be
But
could get some votes. We will move on to the next category, which I will read. That is Weirdest Actor 2024. And here are our nominees. Excuse me. Adam Driver from Megalopolis. Caleb Landry Jones from Dogman. Jesse Plemons in ×3 in Kinds of Kindness. Justice Smith from I Saw the TV Glow, and Ryland Brixton Coles Twos from Hundreds of Beavers. Only thing I'll mention here is Caleb Landry Jones and Dogman. Obviously, Dogman did not get a Weirdest Picture nomination, was not on our Weirdest Movies of 2024 list, but definitely his performance as a sort of crippled transvestite part-time drag queen who was raised by dogs was one of the weirdest performances of last year, and definitely one of the better ones too. He really threw himself into the role, as absurd as it was, and for that he deserves a nomination. Giles, any thoughts about these five?
no, these look like a good spread and all rather different things going on with each of them. So I'll be interested to see who leaps ahead.
My guess is it's between Driver and Brixton Coles Twos.
Uh,
Although I still think a lot of people like I Saw the TV Glow,
yeah, yeah.
and Justice Smith could creep in there. I don't think so, but he could. All right, Giles, you can read the next set of nominations for Weirdest Actress.
There we go. Riley Keough in Sasquatch Sunset. Elena Lunson in She is Conan. Demi Moore in The Substance. Aubrey Plaza in Megalopolis. And of course, Emma Stone in Kinds of Kindness.
Okay, so there are two movies here that also didn't make the Weirdest Movies of the Year, although She is Conan certainly could have, maybe even should have made it. Sasquatch Sunset was indeed a pretty weird movie about Sasquatches. That's all Sasquatches. It's almost shot in the style of a nature documentary. I said a naked documentary, and they are naked, covered up by fursuits. Riley Keough, of course, plays one of the Sasquatches, the main Sasquatch, it turns out, that we follow. And she has a scene that almost made Weirdest Scenes of the Year list, where she spontaneously lactates while upon seeing a mining road, which is something Sasquatches do, apparently.
Huh?
And She is Conan. She is Conan is the movie where 6 different women portray Conan. It's Conan, though, Conann, for the female Conan. 6 different actresses play Conan, and Alina Lowensohn is the constant in there as a dog-faced dog person character named Rainier, who follows all the Conans and sort of records them and maybe orchestrating the entire Conan retrospective, or I don't know what to call it. It's a very strange movie. So there's that. Giles, any thoughts about this?
No, again, looks like a nice spread of all kinds of different things going on. I have only seen one of these movies, so I don't have much to add.
Yeah. My guess is The Substance. Demi Moore wins The Substance. Both wins weirdest movie or weirdest actress of the year, and wins an Oscar for Best Actress.
Yeah, well, that'd be quite the coup.
Yes, it's happened before. I believe it happened last year with Emma Stone. So
Oh, well, quite.
happened with Natalie Portman also in Black Swan, and I think it might have even happened to one other in one other case. But let's move on to the last one, which I will read. This is Weirdest Scene of 2024. And from Dali, we have the scene, S, where the cowboy shoots the priests repeatedly. From Kinds of Kindness, the mid-movie dog credits. From Love Lies Bleeding, something I've called Roided Giantess. Roided with, steroids. Roided.
Yeah.
From Megalopolis, John Voight marvels at his boner, which was certainly a memorable moment. And from Rumors, the reanimated bogmen engage in a circle jerk and then explode, although that part's not on there. It just says reanimated bogmen circle jerk from Rumors.
Oh, okay.
And again, Love Lies Bleeding did not get a weirdest movie nomination, but did have one of the weirdest scenes. It was mainly a pretty straightforward neo-noir, but there were 1 or 2 hallucination scenes in there which were very memorable. Memorable enough to make weirdest scene of the year. And Giles, any thoughts about these?
No, again, it's another great lineup of largely different kinds of things. I suppose Voight being next to the Bogman makes a bit of sense there. So yeah, that voting starts soon. Very exciting, and we are almost out of time, Greg.
That's right. And so thank you all for listening. Vote when you can, and we will see you next week. No guest scheduled. We'll just be back to discuss the week's releases. All right. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.